Hey YouTube, tomorrow is an Oranguru and Passimian research day. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over the event details. It's a pretty easy event, just a research event plus a couple wild counters. So we're going to go over those. And then we're going to go over these Pokemon in the Great League and Ultra League in particular to look at whether you should focus, whether it's just like you should try and get some shinies or you should try and get any of these Pokemon for GBL. Include so the research discs, like research spins or the wild encounters. So very easy event. It's a research day, Sunday, September 22nd from 2 to 5. Oranguru and Passimian are the two two Pokemon. So basically what happens is you receive event themed field research tasks from spinning photo disc at Pokestops. Collect them to encounter the featured Pokemon. So basically, they're usually pretty easy tasks. You just spin a stop, and then it's like catch 3 Pokemon, or do like 3 nice throws. They're usually pretty easy, and then you will get an encounter with Oranguru or Passimian. And these events are never focused on GBL. They're always focused on here are shinies that you can get. So the shiny rates for these are usually pretty good. So if you want one of these two Pokemon, you can look for them as a shiny. If you go in the wild during this time, Mankey, Apom, Slacketh, Chimchar, and Grookey are the Pokemon that are available. So for those of you who are kind of newer here, Oranguru was meta useful for all of 6 seconds. What happened was Oranguru there was a lot of fighters out there, and Hypno got killed because there was also at the time a lot of Darks and Ghosts. So Hypno in the OG days was the number 1 Pokemon to use. Not number 1. Yeah, it's probably near the top 5 Pokemon in the first couple seasons of GBL. Hypno was a top 5 Pokemon because it had bulk, it had a really hard hitting confusion, and then it had thunder punches for punches for coverage, or shadow ball, or focus blast. It had so many moves. But then what happened was a bunch of dark Pokemon and a bunch of ghost Pokemon became super accessible and used by everyone. So Sableye was everywhere, Trevenant was everywhere, Umbreon was everywhere, and suddenly your confusion users wasn't that good. Then the meta changed a bit. The meta evolved. Some of the darks went away. You weren't seeing as much Umbreons. You were seeing a lot more fighters. Trevenant went away because there was a lot more flyers. So there's some stabilized, but even that kind of disappeared. So suddenly, all your darks and ghosts kind of went away a little bit. But Hypno did not return. For 6 seconds, Oranguru returned. And why it returned was it kind of had a couple things going for it. One was it is half psychic. It's half psychic, so you do get same type attack bonus on this confusion. So it was a good confusion move. The second thing that it had was before this Brutal Swing, it did not have Brutal Swing before. It just had Foul Play. Foul Play, and I think most ran it with Psychic or Future. Yeah, probably Psychic as your second move, maybe Future Sight. But a lot of people just used it for Foul Play. And if you look at its stat product here, it has a very, very good stat product, right? It has exactly what you want to see in sort of a Great League stat product. Lowish attack, but not too low. It's not like an Azumarill or something, or Carbink. It's got a 1 in 10 attack, which is pretty, not super low, but low enough to then bump up high 131 defense, 139 stamina for 2,000 overall stat product. So suddenly you had a Pokemon with a really good stat product, a hard-hitting confusion, less dark, less ghost, but actually, from a ghost perspective, you are half normal. So normal double resist the ghost, and psychic is single weak to ghost. So you actually single resist the ghost. So suddenly, you only had a Pokemon with 2 weaknesses, bug and dark. And again, dark started disappearing, and there wasn't Charge Bug wasn't a thing at this time. And not many people use Galvantula. So I'm doing a history of here. So basically Oranguru jumped out. A lot of people were using it. And then it kind of disappeared pretty quickly. Um, some people used it still, but it disappeared pretty quickly. I think the reason it disappeared was because it did not have the charge. Confusion is a good hard-hitting move, but it charges pretty slow. And then you had like your quickest move at the time was a 45 energy foul play, non-stab, so not a great damage per energy for 45 move. And then again, if you had to get up all the way to future sight of 65, good damage per energy, but it's a pretty high move. And again, there wasn't at the time, one of the main psychics was Medi, so even at best you're only hitting neutral against Medi. So that was the main problem. Now it got buffed because it has Brutal Swing, and Brutal Swing lowered the damage on this move, but it also has lower energy. So now it's the super quick move. So suddenly you still have this hard-hitting Confusion that doesn't charge fast, but now you're only getting to these Brutal Swings for like Foul Play was 4, 4, 4, 4, 3, and if you're using Future Sight, it was 6, 5, 6, 5. But now Brutal Swing suddenly 3, 3, 3, 3, right? So you have, again, not a hard-hitting move, but the damage per energy is on par with Foul Play, but it's only a 35 energy move. So now you have this like decent hitting Confusion with some Brutal Swing. Some of your main other fighter Pokemons like Medi and stuff like that are gone. Now you have just like you have Pangoro, which would be tough, but you have like Machamp. Again, there's still not a lot of darks, so it has some play. So in terms of stat product and typing, I think it works very, very well in the Great League. I think where it struggles a bit, I think this Pokemon would be better with a Shadow Pokemon, because I think that the Confusions are good, but they're kind of slow charging. But if you had that extra damage on Confusion with this bulk, I think it would play better. But I think it's, again, ranked 127. I think that's probably accurately ranked. When you get to these Pokemon in like the 100 range, it means like they are usable, but definitely not meta. But when you go to like the Great League, you can see like it's got a 17-22 record, not the best, but not the worst. But some of your wins will be against like some of the top meta, right? Clodsire, Quagsire, Feraligatr because you single resist the Shadow Claw, Machamp. So it's pretty decent. And then you got some like just close matchups here against like some of these new safe swaps, Licky Licky and Dunsparce. So it's definitely a Pokemon. And then you again, as a Pokemon with a Psychic type move, all these Darks are just going to resist your Confusion, and it's a slow move. And then your first move is Dark Pulse, so you're going to get killed by the Darks. That's just the way it's going to be. So it's one of those Pokemon where it's like people are asking me, and I'll probably do this on Monday. I'm going to do 2 videos on Monday. I'm going to do Pokemon that if they got a better move, they would be meta. But I also am going to do sort of like a, if you don't have the XL resources or if you're new to the game in like the last 6 months, what do I use? And Oranguru is kind of like one of those neat, like ones where it's like I wouldn't use it on a regular team because I have a database of, database isn't the right word, but I have like an inventory of like 180 Great League Pokemon, and I have all of them in like the top 100. So I don't need to use a Pokemon at 127. But if you only have like 10-ish Pokemon, Oranguru is kind of a sneaky one that has some play in the Great League, especially against some of these main Pokemon. So that was an in-depth one on Oranguru. Unfortunately, Passimian, a lot worse for a variety of reasons. Stat product is worse, 129 attack, which is so it's more attack heavy, but your defense is terrible. Stamina's not bad, 132, but 1700 overall. So you're more glassy. Counter just got nerfed, so counter got nerfed, so that's brutal. In terms of moveset, like you do have a lot of good moves. You have, again, the Brutal Swing coverage here, but you also have super high damage per energy moves that do lower your defense and attack on superpower and defense just on close combat, but 2 nukes. So I think this thing would have played a little better if counter did not get nerfed, but with counter nerfed, it doesn't really have a lot of play, and there's way better fighters in this meta right now. So unfortunately, this Pokemon is not as usable. If you look at the Ultra League, again, counter being nerfed is the same thing. Oranguru, up to 83. XL, so you need XLs for this, but again, same sort of thing. This one's running with Trailblaze, just boosting your Confusion attack. it has everything that I just talked about in the Great League. It's got a good stat product. It's got a good typing. The confusion still does a lot. There's a lot more coverage for Brutal Swing in the Ultra League against like Giratina and Cresselia and stuff like that. So I think there's more coverage for Brutal Swing your first move. And then Trailblaze, there's some waters that you can just take them there and then do the confusions. Feraligatr is one of the go-to safe swaps in it. You resist the claws there, right? So Oranguru, I think, will have some play. Now, there's other Pokemon in the wild. Unfortunately, they are useless or nerfed, right? Mankey. I guess most people are in the Great League are now probably using Primeape because Annihilate got, Primeape's at like 109. Annihilate got nerfed down to 177. So can you use Primeape? Yes. But again, there's no real reason to use Primeape with its super high attack and low defense stamina. Like you probably just want to use Pangoro or Machamp ahead. Again, if you don't have Pangoro and you don't have Machamp, you don't want to use legacy moves on those Pokemon. In terms of fighting Pokemon now, again, Pangoro, Machamp. Galay it is a fighter. I would still prefer Chestnut. These dragon fighters, I don't know if I love them. But then Primeape is at 109. So if you're looking for like a substitute fighter, if you truly do not have a Machamp and you don't want to spend Karate Chop and Stone Edge legacy moves, and you don't have Pangoro because it's tough to get under 1500 because you need to like trade, and you don't have Chestnut with like a Frenzy Plant, which is what makes Chestnut really good, then you're getting down just like the Primeape. So if you just want a fighter, Primeape is actually a decent one. So if you don't have, again, Mankey's been around for a million times in the last like year, so you probably have one. If you don't, you can get one for a Primeape, and I think it's again sort of usable. I don't think it'd be my first go-to Pokemon, but I've used Primeape before and it's fun. Aipom is terrible. Chimchar is terrible, even though it has a community move. Grookey is a new Pokemon, also terrible. I've already kind of gone over. I did an in-depth analysis on these new starter Pokemon. If you want to go check out that video, just way too high attack stat, really low defense and stamina, and the moveset is not there right now. Maybe a future community move makes it better, but unfortunately not now. And the other Pokemon that got nerfed is Slacketh, aka Vigoroth. So Vigoroth with the triple nerf to counter Body Slam and Rock Slide. Look at that. What was a top pick before and a go-to in every limited meta is now nerfed to 369. Holy smokes. That is quite the nerfing of this Pokemon. Again, counter got nerfed, Body Slam got nerfed, Rock Slide got nerfed. When 3 of your moves get nerfed, you can't. You can't, right? You live or die by moveset, which is why I want to do these Pokemon are one move away from being meta because, right? You had like Vigoroth, decent stat product, 117 attack, 112, 144, 1900 overall, good typing, only one weakness in fighting, and then your movesets make or break you, and they just broke Vigoroth. So that is the event. Again, if I was playing this, it depends on your thing. Like I've already have a million Mankeys, and all these other Pokemon are kind of useless now. So like maybe grab a Mankey if you don't have a few of them. If I had to look for one from a GBL perspective, I'm hunting Orangaroos, but you don't have the option to like pick which one you get. You're just you get the research task, and then you once you complete it, you click it, and then you see whether it's Oranguru or Passimian. So there's not much you can do there. If you want to just do a lot of them, you can. Again, a lot of people just do this for... One of the drawbacks of this is it's definitely just for shinies, and there's like the floor for the IV. So you're not going to get a good IV one. You're going to get like I think it's probably a 10-10-10 baseline. So it's not going to be the best stat product for the Great League, but if you just want to use it anyways, that is what you do. Anyways, happy hunting. I put out a Master League team this morning. I'm looking through the submissions. It looks like there's a Psychic Cup and Master Team from other subscribers. So I'm going to shoot those for Sunday. And then Monday, my goal is to try and do the 2 videos. These Pokemon are one move away from being meta. And then also, if you need budget Pokemon, these are what I think you should probably use. So stay tuned for those videos on Monday. And then League Turnover on Tuesday. So that is it. Thanks for watching. See you guys in the next one.